The end of the world is nearly here. We will have earthquakes that will destroy entire cities. Wars never seen before in America. We are about to be invaded by several countries. Only a few chosen will survive, and they belong to the Church of the FirstBorn. This group is led by Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell, Melenie, Gibb, just to name a few. Things are getting interesting. Part 139 of Life Beyond the Grave, the Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell story. The Doomsday couple, also known as the Doomsday serial killers. Lori has made Charles go away. Now she has full responsibility of the two children, and she has to do it alone. She isn't happy about that. JJ Vallow has autism. He's been off schedule. His life has been in chaos. They've been moving around. Things are very difficult when it comes to JJ. As for Tylee Ryan, Tylee's been thinking more about hanging out with her friends, but her mother's not allowing her to do this. From what we can tell, it seems that Tylee was needed for babysitting JJ. As for Chad Daybell, well, he has his wife to deal with, and they are attending family functions together. This makes it very difficult to do what Lori is wanting him to do, and that is to get rid of Tammy like they had gotten rid of Charles, at least allegedly. Lori's been cutting off her family members one by one, and each family member who has asked Lori questions about her state of mind or doesn't play into her, let's just say, ideas that she is a prophet and preparing for the second coming, they're dark. She wants nothing to do with them. An important note that I've learned about Lori Vallow is throughout her whole entire life, once she gets her mind set on something, she can drop whoever she cares about most like a hot cake and not even look back. Lori Vallow has grown impatient, a very impatient woman, and wants what she wants when she wants it. But Chad is having trouble doing as she desires. He knows that he can't just drop his wife during important family events where they expect to see the two together. It also seems that Chad has kind of got cold feet. In this series before, we read text where Lori was telling him she couldn't put up with this anymore. Her living without him is tearing her heart out. Chad definitely knows that Lori, when she shuns someone, you get the closed door. Lori isn't happy. They've been fighting. She's making demands, and she can't live this way anymore. Witnesses say that Lori is very unhappy when she isn't with Chad. Her mood swings are increasing, and this is becoming dangerous. What I've also learned is several people who thought that they knew Lori as a sweet, kind woman, they're starting to see a different side to her. They're starting to see her get very angry and call people names, threaten people. Lori Vallow could care less. The more impatient she gets, the more desperate she gets. She spends a lot of her time interacting with the temple, speaking to God, spirits, and this is her number one concern, is getting her way, making sure that things go her way. Not her children, not giving the children love or care, support, as a mother would. Lori has obsessive needs that she has to take care of, and she will do anything to take care of them. Now remember, there are hints through text messages that detectives shared starting around July 30th up until around August 10th, all different times of the day, where she's talking about the children, especially Tylee, being a dark spirit and zeroing out. She believes that Tylee's a zombie. She's been possessed by Hillary. And what this means, and I'll do this for new listeners, this means that the original spirit inside the Tylee Ryan's body had already died, and that an evil spirit had come in and took over this physical body. If you want to know the story, you're going to have to go back and start with part 1 of Life Beyond the Grave. So continuing on. Next, I want to share Chad Daybell's favorite family member and in-law, Heather Daybell. She does an interview with True Hidden Crime, and I'm going to share clips of that here where she gives you an idea of what Chad's state of mind is like and what she sees from Tammy. Remember, Chad had gone to a family event. It was his birthday. His nephew had just returned home from a mission.
So there's a picture that they use of Chad and Tammy in Utah. He's got his arm around her. That was the last family get-together we had.
So you were there?
We were all there. That was, I think that was to celebrate Matt's mom's birthday, because that was June 2019. Tammy was kind of AWOL, but that we had a big blew out dinner that she didn't come to. She was asleep in the room. I did notice when I saw her at church, she was head down. And I thought she's going through one of her depressive episodes, is what I thought.
I took note on how Heather described Tammy and how she described her during that time. If you think back, now that you know everything, Tammy must have known something herself, and she was keeping it to herself. And wow, I think in a situation like that, most family members would be like, yeah, what's wrong with Tammy? I'll go check on her. But Tammy seemed to have to, suffer through a lot of whatever she was going through completely alone. So she didn't even talk to her parents about it. So let's go ahead and listen more to this interview.
It was on Chad's birthday. And because I called Chad and said, hey, we're doing this get together. I know it's your birthday. If you don't want to come, I get it. Well, we'll be there. And we did do a little Eagle Scout thing for my younger two boys. Both got their Eagle Scouts. We kind of combined the whole thing.
Heather says that she has video of this day, and it's on August 11th of 2019.
Chad's sitting there next to his dad. Here's Tammy. She's not making eye contact with anybody. She's very quiet. Garth and Emma are there. Everyone else seems to be fine. Chad's fine. They sing happy birthday to Chad. And so that's the last interaction that I really, where we're all together as a family.
It's very clear that Chad and Tammy are not close to Heather Daybell at all. I think Chad tried. I don't think Tammy had any interest in being close to Matt and Heather. Now, something that is interesting, and you will hear if you follow this case, is a lot of people refer to Heather as the pot stirrer. And this is because, she and Chad were always talking about each other behind each other's back to church official, bishops, ward leaders, etc., and so on. It was a battle of who is right. And ultimately, it's going to end up being Heather because of what Chad does in the future. But it was clear that Heather despised the Chad Daybell. And they just didn't get along. And so there was a lot of drama. What I heard through one of the witnesses I spoke to, I said within their family, there was a lot of drama between especially those two. But Heather has, confronted the church and said, look, I seen Chad's car sitting at the church. He's using the church for things he shouldn't, things like that. You can catch that entire interview with Heather Daybell at True Hidden Crime on YouTube. Now, interesting information right here. According to trial information and investigators, Lori is applying for an apartment in Rexburg at this moment. And we've heard about this through Melenie Gibb's interviews. It was odd since Lori had mentioned the fact that she was seeking God for answers on where she's supposed to be after Charles died. And here is a clip from East Idaho News, Dateline, Nate Eaton interviewing Melenie Gibb on this part of the timeline.
Mainly religious talk when you'd all get together.
Yeah.
September of 2019, Lori moves to Rexburg.
Right.
Did you know she was going to move? Did she talk with you about this before?
Well, she didn't decide until, I think August, maybe.
And how did she break the news to you?
Well, she said that first she thought Chad would come to be with her in Arizona. And then she said, I think I changed my plans. I think I'm supposed to be up there. He says I'm supposed to be up there, but I need to get my own answer to find out if I'm supposed to be there, because she didn't really want to go there at first. And then she said, I was told, yes, I need to go, and she needed to be there by a certain time. And so she decided to go. And then she just told me that I need to go up there.
And at that time, you're seeing her every day with...
No, not every day at this point. It started to slow down when Charles passed away. I didn't see her as much. It started kind of tapering off in the end. And especially when she moved to Rexburg, it really tapered off because she was now... And then plus she had been to a few different places, Hawaii and Texas. And so, I obviously couldn't spend every day with her. So It started to taper down after she started moving more.
And before Charles passed, you're talking to her a lot. And is she telling you that she wants to get a divorce, or she's saying Charles is pushing this divorce on me?
She says that he wants to get it, but she does not want to. She doesn't want to go through another divorce again.
I want to get back to that in a minute. But in September, she moves. She tells you that she needs to go up there. And what was your reaction about Chad telling her she needs to come up there, knowing that Chad still has the wife and 5 kids?
Yeah, well, we talked about that. I'm like, isn't that going to be awkward? She was uncomfortable with it. She believed that Tammy was going to pass away, though, before she got up there. And that didn't happen. She didn't pass away before she got up there. And so I thought, I said, aren't you uncomfortable? Maybe she'll see you guys together. And so I thought it was different, that she was going to be up there when Tammy was still alive.
And she told you, well, Tammy will die before I move up there.
Right.
How was she going to die?
I heard a few times maybe through a car accident, something like that.
So they thought Tammy would be in a car crash.
Yeah.
Would pass away, then Lori would move up there, and then she could marry Chad. And when that didn't happen, she said, I've still got to go.
Yeah, because, the other side of the veil she's talking to, she said, I need to be there by this date. And
she's communicating with
someone. Yeah.
So she moves up there, and from what I understand, she and Chad would walk around the track at BYU, Idaho.
So there you go. You know that Lori is saying that she's making her own decisions through spirits or gods or whatever angels that she's talking to within the temple. But around this time, she had made up her mind. She had signed a lease in Rexburg and was moving. We learned that Tylee Ryan wanted to stay behind with a friend, but that wasn't going to be an option for Lori. It seems that Lori might have had plans for Tylee once they arrived in Rexburg, Idaho. At least that's what the texts say between her and Chad. Around August 13th, this is one of the last days that Colby says he will ever see Tylee and JJ together. Now, we all know that the time that Melenie Gibb was meeting Lori Vallow, she was going through a divorce. Shortly after that, Lori Vallow's wanting to go and get rid of Charles. She wasn't going to divorce him, but the person that Melenie Gibb was seeing was David Warwick, another prophet, another person that can see visions of the future. David Warwick, when he was in his younger years, was going down the wrong direction, was in gangs, and he had a complete turnaround, found God. He is a Mormon, so for some reason, he believes that he has visions and that these visions are true. Melenie Gibb seems to attract to people like this. She told you that she was fascinated with Chad Daybell's abilities. According to testimony by David Warwick, later he says it's in August that he meets Alex Cox for the first time. I'll go into more details on that later on. Right about this time, Tylee Ryan makes a huge mistake by allowing her mother to open a bank account, with her. So this would be the Social Security funds and the money that she had gotten when Joseph Ryan had passed away. We know that Lori Vallow is running out of money. She went through that $30,000 and more and no time. But now Charles is gone. She has no way of getting money. She didn't get that $1 million life insurance policy. And right now, Brandon Boudreaux and Tammy Daybell are still alive. So she's kind of starting to drown. It seems that Lori Vallow has no qualm of taking other people's money. It doesn't bother her a bit. That includes spending Charles' money that he worked so hard for. And it would be, you have to wonder, what was Tylee Ryan thinking during this time? Charles is gone. She's gone through so much. She was never a girl that really liked Charles, I think, until he was gone. And I think at that point, she must have thought, well, maybe he was the one that took care of us. He had just bought her a Jeep. Now that Charles was gone, Tylee Ryan found that she was the one having to make her own Jeep payments, not her mother, and her father's gone. And I want to say it again. I believe that Tylee Ryan must have been scared to death during this time. Once Charles was shot, Lori Vallow gets Tylee to go on, to allow her mother to go on her bank account with her. They are moving to Rexburg. Chad Daybell has been coming to stay with them in the same home that she was living in when Charles was shot in Arizona. Now, we've heard from Melenie Gibb, and at one point it was kind of concerning that Tylee Ryan doesn't like anyone. Most likely she didn't care about Chad Daybell. She was probably going through a lot, maybe, and this is speculation, maybe kind of confronting her mom, about Charles and Chad, and Lori didn't like that. You guys share below. What do you think Tylee knew? I believe there's more information out there of what Tylee was going through, and Janice Cox and Summer may know more. I'm going to have to cut this short today. Make sure that you share some of our missing girls' faces on your social media. People like Dulce, Jasmine Robinson, Summer Wells. I was looking, we have a lot of people who are watching, but they're not subscribing or liking. If you don't mind, please do that. You don't have to stay subscribed, but it helps me out. I hope everybody is having a great week. I love you guys, and I'll see you again.